Hi Cherries, it's Jessica here from A Cherry on Top, and today is Technique Tuesday. This month on Technique Tuesdays we are focusing on hidden elements. This could be journaling like how Sarah showed us last week, or today I will be showing hidden photos. Adding a hidden photo is a really fun way to add additional photos that you may not want to show on your layout, either if it's more of a duplicate photo or if, like how I'm showing in this video today, because it's more of a Halloween spread, it's a spooky photo, so I thought it would be fun if that was used as a hidden element. First, I'm starting with alcohol inks to make a really fun and unique background. My main colors for this are purple, yellow, a little bit of orange, and some red, but I also added in some metallic as well. If you haven't used alcohol inks before, it's really just a back and forth dance. You add more color where you think you need it, and then if it's turned out too dark, you add more isopropyl alcohol on top of it to kind of get rid of it and move it away. I am using the Tim Holtz blower a lot for this, and that really helps quickly spread these colors around and mix them in together a little bit more. I knew I wanted the corners of this to look really dark, so that's where I concentrated most of the purple and mixed in a little bit of red, and tried to keep the center very yellow. You'll see there's a few times where the purple crept into the center a little bit too much, and to get rid of it, I added more isopropyl alcohol and used the blower to blow that deep color away. After I let it dry, this dries very quickly, so only a couple minutes, I wanted to add some dots and speckles, so I am dipping my paintbrush into the isopropyl alcohol and tapping it all over the page, so there would be like little dots, and then I also am dipping my paintbrush directly into my bottle of isopropyl alcohol and adding dots around all like that. Next, I am using some Tim Holtz Sizzix dies. I'm using the Ghost Down number 2 die, and I will also be using the Spiderweb die. He has a lot of really cool Halloween dies, and that's what I'm using as some of my main elements on this layout. These are houses, and they're really fun for Halloween. I'm cutting them out in black so they look more like silhouettes or shadows. And then I'm also cutting out the spiderweb die and the little spider that comes with it a couple times so I can use those webs around the layout as well. I really like how intricate both of these dies are and how they'll really help tell a story with my page. I'm going to use this alcohol ink background almost like the sky and then layer these dies in front of it. I really like how the black looks and how it shows up a little bit, but to really give it a pop, I'm going to use some luster wax over top of it, which you'll see in just a minute here. With this luster wax, all you need is the tiniest little bit, and it will go so far. I like to use my fingers so I know just how much I'm applying, and as you can see, I am grabbing a little bit from the jar and then wiping the majority of it off onto my scrap paper, just so I can lightly rub over it. This is really great for picking up any highlights. You can be more specific where you want the luster wax to show up, whether you want it more by the windows or more on the roof of the house. I tried to keep most of where I was adding the wax to be around the edges of these dies, and then a little bit more by the windows and the doors. I am also adding some to the spider webs, and I think especially because the dark corners are so dark that this really helps them pop out a little bit. Next, I wanted to add some foam to these houses just to pop them up, and I was originally going to use my white foam squares, but then decided against that, and I thought that black foam would be much better, so that way you can't see it at all in case I had too big of a piece, or you would still see a little bit of white from the side. So I recommend getting some black foam as well as the white foam. I decided to pop these up just to give them a little bit more of a shadow underneath them and help raise them even further from the background, and I think that helps a lot. Next, I'm going to back this photo. When you are doing a hidden photo like this, I like to have the front photo a little bit bigger than the back. This is because it makes it easier to completely hide the photo behind it. And if your photos are the exact same size like mine are, add a backing to one of them to give that a little bit of a border, and that'll also hide completely the photo behind it. I also added a little bit of the luster wax to the photo backing as well, and I thought that this page needed a little something to break up my section of the Yupo paper and my black page, so I thought that lace was the perfect thing for that, but all I had was white lace, so I used some black acrylic paint and painted it on, and I really like how that turned out. When painting lace, especially with regular acrylic paint, I like to water it down a bit just so it can really soak into the whole fabric, and now it looks like that lace was made to be black. I am also popping up this whole Yupo page with some foam and sticking it onto my cardstock. And now laying on my elements and seeing how they will all look once they get put together. So to glue on the spider web, I used some wet glue, and then for the spider, I used a little bit of the black foam for the spider body, and then glued on the spider string with more of the wet glue so it would look flat against and go with the spider web. Now it's time for the hidden photo. I started by using some cherry tape and tacking down my bottom photo, which is the spooky one, and then I'm going to layer on the top one with some washi tape. So to get this to do the little flip, I add a layer of washi tape on both sides, and that seems to hold pretty well. I've done this quite a few times, and the washi tape is never worn out or anything. So that makes it a really fun little photo flip. I think this is really fun, especially with these photos, because not everybody wants to see that scary face just flipping through a scrapbook, but having it as a photo flip, you can kind of decide who should see it. This photo is actually taken with a Snapchat filter, and Harper in the back there actually did get a little bit scared when I turned it on, and it scared me too, but we had a good laugh about it afterwards. So I think these are the perfect photos for this photo flip hidden element. Next, I went and grabbed some sticks. These are just sticks right off of a tree, and I didn't want to paint them completely black, just using black paint, because I still wanted a little bit of their natural color to show through. So instead I used some Distress Oxide, and this gave them a darker black color without completely covering them. It actually took a little bit for me to decide to use the sticks. I was actually looking for like a creepy tree die or something, but then when I thought of this, I was like, oh, that's actually perfect because they can be very long and skinny and still have that tree-like look. I wanted to use these because there's some Halloween tokens that I thought would look really cool, like hanging from a tree, which you'll see in just a little bit here. So I really liked how this turned out. To get these branches to stick on, I am using 3D gloss gel. I chose to use this medium because I know I could lay it on really thick using a paintbrush, and then also it dries transparent, which was very important to me as well because I didn't want white paste sticking out behind these twigs. So now that I have my trees, I am getting these tokens ready to hang on them. I wanted to add a little bit more distressing to them, so I'm using some wax. This is the stained wood color, which is a matte color, and then I'm going to add a little bit of black acrylic paint to make it look a little darker and grungier. Next, they'll get attached to the trees with some embroidery floss. I have some black. It's kind of a little bit more shiny than regular embroidery floss, so I'm attaching it to the trees using that. Because I want these tokens to stick up from the background a little bit, I am using foam to attach them. I've found that adding foam to most of the metal embellishments is actually an easier way to attach them than using wet glue, because they just stick really nicely the first time. And now I'm adding a little bit more luster wax to the tree branches. This looks really cool when you use it on natural elements like this, because you can really see the wood grain that is in these sticks, and I think it looks really cool and it really makes them pop. I was thinking that this is where I would be done with the layout, but I thought that the really plain black background didn't work quite as well, so I decided to add some splatters using some black shimmer paint. This is Delusion shimmer paint, so it has they're very, very shimmery, and I thought it looked really cool, and it was almost like stars behind these trees, and I think it also helped these tree branches blend in a little bit nicer too. The speckles also landed on the tokens, and I really like how that ended up looking. And because I thought that with the shimmer paint it looked like stars, I knew I had these Sizzix sequence stars, so I decided to add some of those on there too. So here is a look at the finished piece. I thought this one was really fun, from the alcohol ink to the sticks and the tokens and the dies and all of it in between. Plus it even has this little spooky photo flip, perfect for Halloween. So I hope you're inspired by this layout and you got some ideas for what to include in your next project. Thanks for watching.